And let's welcome our guest to the show.
Or not. She walked away.
She walked away. There she is.
There she is.
Hello.
We can barely hear you, Doro. You're breaking in and out.
Okay, maybe I do it like this.
Yeah, do it that way.
Is it better?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Good. Okay. Good. Okay.
Well,
I'll put you a little bit higher. Yeah. Okay.
Well, Doro, we've been doing this show for a year now, and we finally have a legend on with you. So welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. It's an honor. That's great.
Nice. Well, Doro, we're going to talk about the album CONQUERESS. Why don't we start there? Tell us a little bit about CONQUERESS, Forever Strong and Proud.
Oh man, yeah, I'm so happy. It came out, I think, pretty good, and it has 20 songs on it, and yeah, it has great highlights on it, and it's available in picture disc and splattered vinyl. So if you guys are vinyl junkies, that's the vinyl. I love it, and it's actually double vinyl and splattered. And yeah, that's a nice picture of Brazil, our Monsters of Rock show, and this one. So I'm all happy with it, and I think the fans love it. And yeah, so far the reception was great, and yeah, the feedback was great. And we played a couple of songs live already. That was actually going over really well, like Time for Justice and Children of the Dawn. That's one of my favorites. And yeah, but I love all the 20 songs. So, and I just heard you guys play True Metal Maniacs. There was actually, the last video and single for the fans. There was actually a thank you to the fans. That's the reason why you see fans from all over the world, from Brazil and Wacken and all over. So the fans are the most important thing in my world, so that's the reason why I wanted to do a video just for the fans. And that was actually video number 6. So we had 5 videos out before the album was released, and and there's a new single coming out in March, and it's our first animated video. And it's so funny. I saw the first 2 minutes. It's so hilarious. When you guys will see it, it's funny as hell. And it's for the song "Lean Mean Rock Machine." And yeah, so far, everything is going really good. Yeah.
Good.
So what's it like touring around the world? I mean, here in America and versus Germany, what's it like? What are the differences?
Actually, I love America. You know, I'm a big fan of America. I always want to go to America. And in '86, I could do my first promotion tour. That was actually for our 3rd album, True Steel. I had 3 days in New York, and then after 2 days, I stayed. And I loved it so much. And then we did this album, Triumph and Agony. You can see it here in the background. Oh, my fingers. There, you guys. Do you remember this one?
That's awesome.
Yeah. And we did Triumph and Agony. I got hooked up with great people. So yeah, and then I became I'm a green card holder, a proud green card holder for over 30 years. And I love touring America, of course, and I love touring the world. It doesn't matter, small club or big festival. Of course, I like some festivals, like, for example, Wacken. Did you guys know of that festival, Wacken in Germany? Big metal festival. Did you guys hear?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, that's like, wow. When you play there, that's really special. But other than that, I love touring the States and playing festivals in the States as well.
What do you like about the festivals so much, other than playing clubs or like just bigger concerts? Why do you like the festivals?
Actually, there's one big reason, because you meet all your friends again, like friends from other bands. Like actually, that's the reason why I have 2 duets on this new album, because I met Rob Halford last year in France at a festival. It was Hellfest, big festival, great festival, and we were talking, hanging out backstage, and then Rob Halford was asking me what I'm doing. And I said, just finishing up a new album. And then we both looked at each other, and I said, Rob, are you thinking the same? He said, yes. I said, shall we do something together? He said, yes, it's about time. We are friends for a long time. It was my first tour in 1986 with Judas Priest. It was on the Turbo tour, and we always stayed friends. So we met at this festival, and then we said, shall we do something? And and then I said I would love to do Living After Midnight, because I'm a big fan of British Steel album of Judas Priest. And Rob Halford said, I have a song I always wanted to do with you, Total Eclipse of the Heart. And I thought, wow, that's really unusual choice. And then we did both. So playing festivals, you always meet the people you love, other bands, And I played, the last festival I played, Kiss was there, and the Scorpions, and we all hung out together, and it's that's one of the main reasons I love festivals. And of course the fans, when the fans are in good spirits, when there's a good atmosphere, and when they're all happy to see all the great metal bands, that's that's the best.
Right on. Well, Doro, one thing that I've seen recently is that you're getting asked a lot about your personal life. For the first time that I've noticed in interviews, you're getting a lot of, are you going to retire? Is there relationships, et cetera, et cetera? And I don't want to ask that necessarily, because like I said, you've been asked it a zillion times. But the one thing that I still don't know is, what do you do when you're not on stage or on a bus or traveling? I mean, do you get to a new city and investigate the town? Like when you come to Cleveland, is there a coffee shop that you like, or is there a place you like to go? I mean, what do you do in each town? Because obviously the show is 2 hours, the travel's not the rest of it. So what do you do to keep busy?
Usually I always hang out with some fans or friends, and usually I have people in every city, in every town. And then when they're coming to soundcheck, or when they come to our tour bus, then then we hang out, and we have a bite to eat, talk about whatever is interesting. So and and the fans, that's my life. When you ask about the personal thing, the fans, that's my family. I love them more than anything in this world, and and hanging out with the fans is the most important thing to me. And checking out what they are doing, how life is treating them, and it always gives me inspiration to write songs. And and then I can always feel it out, what people what their taste is. And or sometimes we talk about good old times. Usually people love old school metal songs. So and then they say, hey, can you write another song like Oh Yeah or something, or I Will the Ruins? And usually we talk about music. Right. And when I'm by myself, then I just walk around, soak it all in, get the atmosphere. I love Cleveland. Cleveland was one of my, favorite cities to play. I have great memories. We played, it's the place called the Agora, right?
Yeah.
We played there many times. I think we played there with Megadeth as well, and some other clubs. And Cleveland was always pretty much our number one city to play, along with Chicago and New York, LA. But Cleveland had the most diehard metal scene. So I remember that well from the early 80s on, and that's great. And I remember one time there were some fans. They were showing me their new motorcycles, and my band was there, road crew, tour manager, everybody. And then we all said, wow, great motorcycles, Harley Davidsons and all that stuff. And this one guy said, hey, you want to drive with me? And I said, oh, cool. So I hopped on the motorcycle, and then he went away, and I thought, man, I don't even know that person. I hope he'll be okay, making this show. And and the road crew and the band, I said, oh my God, Doro, where are you going? And but I must say I could trust the fans with my life. Always have, always will. So and then we just took me to see a little bit, we drove, I don't know where, I don't know, the part of the cities where it was pretty cool. And he was so happy, his new motorcycle. And then,
That's awesome.
So that was that stuff I do when I'm on tour. And
My wife sent me a message saying that you always have hot guys in your band. So I guess good for you. But
Well, they're not my boyfriends. They are. They're the
But
covers.
my question is it different being in a metal scene like this, being a female artist? Is it a little bit tougher? Is it easier? What's it like going up with those guys like Halford and everybody else? Is it more difficult?
Oh no. I would say I got always treated so good. They were always very gentle, very nice, very supportive, and and I toured with so many great bands like Ronnie James Dio and Motorhead and Judas Priest, Megadeth. Everybody was always super, super nice and so cool to me. I never felt like I was different. I always felt I was the singer of the band, and I never thought it was a disadvantage, and I never thought it was an advantage being a woman. I was just doing what I loved. It was actually more you had to fight for your music. In the beginning, in the 80s, metal wasn't so accepted, so sometimes you had to really fight for your band, for your music. So but being a woman was always cool, and the guys in my band, they were like my big brothers, and the road crew as well. We always take care of each other. Sure. And and there's a totally deep friendship, family kind of feeling. So but I loved music so much, and I loved the fans so much, so people knew I was serious about it. I wouldn't give up in 1-2 years, or when it gets a little bit tougher, which I remember we always had good and bad times. It always went up and down, and then you just have to hold on, do your best when time is not on your side. But it doesn't matter. What doesn't kill you definitely makes you stronger. So sometimes we felt, oh man, we're supported by by the universe, by everybody, and then in the 90s when grunge was so huge, that was a little bit more difficult, but it was okay.
Well, and that's one of the interesting things about your career, Doro, that I did want to ask you about, was right around that time, because you took a swing, not at grunge, but you took a change musically when you did like True at Heart and even Machine to Machine, which were very different, very mainstream sounding records for you.
Industrial kind of, industrial drum and bass.
It was different. It was different for you. Why did you try that approach? And more to the point, once you were done, what convinced you that you needed to kind of go back to your roots and stay a little more true to the traditional metal sound? Yeah,
I would say every record was kind of a sign of the time. Okay. And I remember, do you have a minute and I'll tell you the story?
Yes.
Actually, I did record in New Jersey with great producer, Jack Ponty is his name. Mm-hmm. And we had great musicians and stuff. It was great. And we recorded one record. It was called Angels Never Die. And that was when grunge was pretty big. It was in 92, 93. So the first album you mentioned, True at Heart, that came out because it wasn't grunge. But I think it was a beautiful record. It had beautiful, soulful songs. I loved it so much. And Angels Never Die was like, it was pretty rocking. But the record company said, okay, did you choose a song or single yet or for a video? And I said, yes, I think it has awesome songs. And then they said, well, but is it grunge? And I said, no, it's not grunge. And I said, well, if it's not grunge, we can't release it. And I said, well, you can check out the songs. I think it's really cool stuff. And I said, it doesn't matter if it's not grunge sounding, then we can't release it. So I thought, oh my God. It was still released in Europe and in some other countries, but not in America, which was heartbreaking. Now, anyway, we toured and stuff, did a live record. It was all cool. So I was working on the next album. There was actually Machine to Machine, which it didn't have this title yet, but it was the next album. And then we had almost this album done, finished. We were mixing. And then one night I woke up and I thought, man, I got to talk to Jack Ponty, the producer. And I said, hey, Jack, I got to talk to you. And he said, yeah, Doro, what's up? We're almost done. Record sounds amazing. It's all cool. And I said, yeah, I just have a little tiny thing to talk about. And I said, Jack, I don't feel the record. I don't feel it. And he said, what do you mean? The record is done, They're way over budget, 2 times over budget. I said, Jack, I don't know, man. I don't feel it. I don't feel it. He said, oh my God, we are in deep shit now. We are in deep trouble. And he said, let me think about it. And yeah, he was probably, totally like, yeah, he was, he thought I was crazy. But one day later, he said, Doro, you know what? If you don't like and if you don't love the record, it doesn't make any sense. So I will try to figure it out. So a couple of weeks later, he called me up. He said, Doro, come to the studio. I have two guys in there. The name was Camus and Andres. And they are from New York City. They were really like, drum and bass kind of people and really cool. So we were talking and stuff. And then I said, well, how you guys write songs? And then he said, well, we just put on a drum loop, then we jam a little bit. I thought, oh man, that's not the way I like to write songs. Usually I write songs, the idea, the melody and stuff. And then, I thought, this will probably not work out. So they were in the room jamming. I was in the lobby and I thought, oh man, I was like pretty, confused because the record was not what I wanted. So we were, doing something. I was in the lobby and suddenly I heard something sounding like, wow. And it became the song, The Want. And it was a drum loop. And I immediately ran into the room and I said, well, to the engineer, give me a microphone. I want to sing to it. And Jack Conn, who is a fine guitar player, great guitar player, he took his guitar and then we jammed a little bit. I sang. And that's the song, on the record. It's called The Want. And it was a totally different feeling. But it was so new. I saw it so sexy. It was different, yes, but I loved it. And then I said, Jack, that's what I want to do. So these guys, they stayed a couple of months and then we did this whole record. And actually just, I think maybe 2 songs made this album of the stuff, which I thought, it's not my cup of tea, but it was just a feeling. So I thought you always have to follow your heart, even when it's against all odds, even
right.
if it's like, like not, you cannot even explain it, but I always have to do what I feel. Yeah. And then we did Machine to Machine album, and then we did the Love Me in Black album, which I loved so much. It was the follow-up. I did it in New York City, and then slow but sure metal started to come back. I wasn't conscious about it, but somehow, everything changed again. And I thought, oh man, I don't want to do, any computer stuff anymore. I want to do the real stuff. And then we did our album Calling the Wild. And that was actually the first American release again. And then we hopped on tour with Ronnie James Dio in America. The favorite tour. It was so awesome. A 3-month tour with Ronnie and Ingrid Malmsteen. And this album did actually really well. And it was the first, release worldwide again, Calling the Wild. And the first album with a duet on it. It had 2 duets on it with Lemmy of Motorhead. And it was like, oh, that was Love Me Forever and Alone Again, a song Lemmy wrote on his acoustic guitar. He was a great guitar player. So, so sometimes, you do things, but I guess, you have to follow your gut, your instinct, your heart, even when it's not, when other people don't understand it. But it was a tough time. The 90s, it was a tough time, guys.
It was. Oh,
everything
definitely.
changed. So, but,
Well, Dora, the other thing too that I wanted to ask you about is, and I know you're gonna tell me I'm being too kind, so we'll get that out of the way now. But as well as everybody knows that women in metal has really taken off in the last couple of years, the last 10 years or so. And you are held up as the person that kicked that door down. And that's from people that I know that are not just new people like Ginger or Plush or whatever. I'm talking about some people that I know, Veronica Freeman and Leather Leone and stuff, that are older, but even they who have had 20, 30-year careers point to you as the person that kicked the door down. So when you look at it as that person, do you see what you did as influential, or do you think that it just worked out that way for everybody else?
Actually, I'm happy when people have good things to say about me, when people felt inspired or motivated, when I could when I could be a good force in this world, in the metal world, then I'm so happy, and yeah, it always felt good. I always did what I wanted to do. I didn't think of, anything. I didn't think of whatever being a trailblazer and stuff. I just did it always like 100%. I always gave it my all every single day. And and if somebody felt inspired, I'm so happy. And if it makes girls look good, that's great, because in the 80s, you guys probably remember all the videos, like the MTV VH1 videos with all these heavy metal bands or rock bands. There were usually these girls, super beautiful, but dancing half naked. And it was not, it looked good, but it was actually not so, it was not so powerful. I thought it looked sometimes, like sometimes cheap, actually, and I never wanted to, make especially girls feel, it's like that's the thing to do. It's great when you look good, when you dance sexy, but I think there's more to it. So I always, wanted to give it like a lot of power, in a human way, and I think there's nothing wrong with being sexy and stuff, and moving on stage like like cool, or have cool stage clothes on, but I always try to not show too much skin, to not make it look like it's like the bimbo kind of way. So, and metal, I think that was above everything. It was not male, not female, it was just metal. It was powerful. So, but but I'm happy when people have good things to say about me. But I didn't do it on purpose. I just did what I thought would be the right thing to do, and I always did it like with full power, and and always with a lot of heart and soul, and and
Now, you've seen everything from the 80s up until now. How different is the music scene now, whether it's touring or streaming and all that kind of stuff? It is a lot different than back in the day when, like you said, MTV doesn't play any videos anymore.
No. And
So, I mean, and then now you got streaming too on top of it. So how different is it, the music scene?
It is much different. On one hand, I think it's great. So many more great ladies are doing it. When I started out, there were maybe a handful of great ladies, like the Girls of Girls School, I remember, or Rock Goddess, or Lita Ford, Joan Jett, Lee Aaron. But that was pretty much about that, and some other girls as well, like you just mentioned, Leather, and some other bands. But it was very rare to have like female musicians or female singers. So now it's much better balanced. I think great talented ladies are doing it, like Elisa of
Arch Enemy.
So many great people, like Lizzie Hale of Hailstorm, and so like I'm friends with both of them. Tarja Turunen, the ex-singer of Nightwish, or Floor Jansen, now the singer of Nightwish, and even some great girl bands like Nervosa, from Brazil, or Crypta. So I love it. I think that totally changed. I think so many great female bands in all kinds of genres. So I think that's great. I miss the great old times, like being in record stores. I miss record stores that they, almost are vanished. That hurts. I was sometimes 24 hours in a record store, especially in New York. They always had Tower Records, and I was in there every night, till 6 o'clock in the morning. And I miss that, the record stores. I miss vinyl. I always try to keep it old school, keep the good stuff alive, like doing still vinyl edition and CDs as well. Yeah, the streaming, like you heard probably from many artists, man, it's like, it's very hard to survive only on the streaming stuff. It's like, well, it's almost impossible. So, you have to do something else, like merch. For us, Patreon is very important, like the fan club for the diehard fans. I always work on that the diehard fans have something really
Right
great, you know, that they get like, you know, the old bootlegs, which I try to collect from all over the world, or T-shirts or stuff. So, or some personal like phone calls or Zoom calls. We always, you know, take care of the fan club, of the Patreon people. And while touring is still great, you know, when I started, actually touring was there to promote the album. And we always had like tour support. And now I think that word tour support doesn't even exist anymore.
Right.
No, it doesn't do tour support anymore. So you have to try to make money while touring, which is very difficult because you have, you know, you have the flights, hotels, tour bus, musicians, road crew, you know, it's that's very tricky, but we always try. And, you know, and when I see the fans, then everything is worth it. Everything
Right.
is. So whatever I earned in my life, I always put it back into the show, the tour, you know, into the fans. But yeah, it's different times. And the streaming, I don't know about that. I rather have something in my hand, and, you know, I'm not such a big fan of that. And, you know, old school, you know.
Right on. Well, there's no reason not to have actual merch from you, Doro. You have this great new record, CONQUERESS, Forever Strong and Proud. It has all kinds of great merch to it. It literally does. And Doro, where should we tell people to go to buy the merch and to keep up with you and tour dates? Because I'm going to imagine that we're going to see you here in the States in 2024. So
yes. Actually, I wrote down the 2 festivals. We are confirmed already in America. It's in Houston, Texas, the Hells Heroes. That's March 21st. So that's the first festival. And the second festival is M3 Rock Festival, May 4th in Meriwether, Columbia, Maryland. So I'm so happy to see you guys over there. And then we will put a tour around it. And we have many festivals worldwide. And yeah, you could go to check us out. Of course, all the socials, Doro Metal Queen, that's Instagram. Facebook is Doro Pesch Official, and the website is doro.us. And yeah, and Patreon, it's doropesch.com. So, or Doro Pesch, I don't know exactly, you know. I just do music. But yeah, Doro Pesch on Patreon. And yeah, and we are on Twitter or X now, and TikTok, everywhere. Just, you know, put in my name and then you can see it. And the tour dates usually are on the website, doro.us. That's the one.
I did notice some perfume on the website, male and female, so I might have to pick some of that up.
Oh, it smells heavenly. The female version has a little bit vanilla in it, and the male version smells really good too. I always have the male version when I feel like, you know, when I want to feel tough. Then it's but I love it both. Yeah, they call it actually True at Heart. And yeah, perfume, and there's jewelry, like, you know, these 2 axes there. It was in a limited edition in a box set. So there's tons of stuff. And in America, the merch is Merch Now. And then Merch Now, it's Doro Pesch. So Europe and America, they have different merch companies. Because of, you know, like, it's easier to ship something from America to America. From Europe, it's quite expensive. But yeah, Merch Now, that's that. And thank you so much for letting me tell the fans about it. But anything is appreciated. And of course, buying the records, that's great. You know, it's better than streaming. But whatever is like your thing. I know young people, they don't even care about like vinyl anymore. I think, like, you know, when you're 12 years old, you know, you probably don't even know, you know, what a record player is.
It's crazy. Well, we can't thank you enough for coming on tonight. We know you have other things to do tonight. So thank you so much for being on the show tonight.
I thank you. It was great. I had great fun. I want to say hi to all your viewers, listeners. You guys are really cool. And I hope I see you live, maybe on a gig or festival or wherever on this planet. And yeah, it was really cool with you guys.
And we're going to wrap it up, Chris, playing some music as well, right?
We're going to play the Total Eclipse of a Heart with Mr. Halford.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Say hi to Rob. I love him.
Thank you so much.
All right, Doro. Take care.
Fun, you too.
Every now and then I get a little bit terrified, and then I see the look in your eyes.
In the ever-evolving world of music, artists need to reach their audience faster than ever before. Introducing Too Immersive for You, the Emmy-nominated pioneers in viewership experience. We've revolutionized the way music artists share their material with the world. Our groundbreaking AI engine generates stunning visuals that bring your music to life. Imagine having your own personalized music video, perfectly synchronized to your unique sound in a matter of hours, not weeks. With Too Immersive for You, it's now a reality. Get ready to unlock a new dimension of music visualization. Too Immersive for You, where music meets immersive visuals. Contact us now to discover how Too Immersive for You can elevate your music to new heights. www.musicvideoai.net